pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I will now call this regular school board meeting of Independent School District 5 or 9. Yeah, 5. You got me, Kirby. Yeah. 5:44 to order. I apologize for that. With that, we'll establish the quorum. Clerk?
Kirby Anderson.
Present.
Kelly Graff. Here. Jenny Christensen. Present. Missy Hermes. Present. Melanie Cole.
Present.
Stephen Bigasa.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. We have an agenda before us. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion on the items? All right, all in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay, we have a resolution on acknowledgements, and with that, we'd like to thank Otter Elementary PTO for their classroom donations to the teachers at Lincoln School, and also a thank you to the Kiwanis Club of Fergus Falls for their donation to the upcoming music trip with Kennedy Secondary School students. I will offer that resolution and move for its adoption. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, I will turn to the clerk again.
Okay. Kelly Graff. Yes. Jenny Christensen.
Yes.
Missy Hermes. Yes. Melanie Cole.
Yes?
Stephen Bigasa.
Yes.
Kirby Anderson.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted.
All right, thank you. Tonight, we have a public meeting scheduled for the technology plan and internet safety policy. This meeting, or this public meeting will be combined with the superintendent's board report, so we will go ahead and begin with that. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, thank you. Good evening. As internet access became a well-established practice in public education, school districts have adopted technology plans for the implementation of internet access. District Policy 524 addresses that. It's our internet acceptable use and safety, does govern the use of the internet for the purposes of education, to include classroom activities, educational research, and professional or career development activities, and uses deemed necessary for the operation of the organization. As part of this policy, the district utilizes internet content filtering software, Fortinet and Deladao, to block access through the school's network to visual depictions that would be considered inappropriate or harmful. The policy also provides, though not exhaustive, guidance for the acceptable use of the internet. Policy 524 includes guidance regarding parental technology provider notification, school-issued devices, cell phone use, and screen time limitations for children in preschool and kindergarten.
All right. Thank you.
This will be a short report tonight. We're kind of in a transition period. The high school just started, and most of the district just started their second trimester. Our winter activities have just in the last couple of weeks gotten underway, so it's a little bit of a quieter time between the holidays. I do want to especially acknowledge our students, though. I've been just really impressed with them over the last month or so. They have been very much engaged in the community, involved in many aspects that are making a positive impact for our fellow citizens of Fergus Falls. And you can see on the screen the number of things that they've been involved with, but the United Way food packing event, the YMCA Halloween party, the Be a Villager meal event, Otter Cove Festival of Lights, Salvation Army bell ringing, Habitat for Humanity. That event is coming up in January. And then December will be a coordination with the public library on a December book drive. So it really fits in our portrait of a graduate under contributing citizen. And it's I'm just really proud of the kids and really pleased with the impact they're making and the recognition they're receiving by the community. That means a lot to me, and it's a wonderful reflection on both them and the school district. Just a couple of notices on things that are available to our students. We have the Friday night skiing at Andy's, so that's underway now, and here every year many families really appreciate that opportunity. So thanks to Mary and her staff in community education for making that possible. We are right in the midst of our winter concert series. So tonight at 7 p.m. is the choir concert for the high school in the auditorium. The 6th grade choir will be December 12th, and that's at noon. The 7th and 8th grade choir, December 15th at 7 p.m. And then we will finish up with the high school orchestra concert December 17th. And please note that that is a 5 p.m. Concert start. There is an opportunity to participate in a fundraiser called the Festival of Trees. This is brand new, at least I'm not familiar with it. It's being coordinated by our activities department. But various groups, clubs, organizations have an opportunity to decorate a miniature tree. And then the community will have an opportunity to buy raffle tickets to win these trees, and then the proceeds go towards purchasing gifts for children in our community. And then the snow event, now that we're in winter, there was a briefing this afternoon from the weather station up in National Weather Service up in Grand Forks. And so we are in that pink circled area, which means they're not really sure what we're getting. Could be freezing rain, could be snow, could be rain, could be a mixture. So they are going to give another update tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. But then as you look off to the right, by tomorrow afternoon into the evening, we're going to have wind gusts close to 50 miles per hour. So we're definitely in for a weather event. We just don't know how significant that will be. And that's part of the challenge in this area. It doesn't take a lot to get into some pretty difficult driving conditions. And with that, I'll turn it over to any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for the superintendent? Thank you for your report. Tonight we have Doug Anderson, our facilities supervisor, here to give us a report. Good evening, Doug. Hi.
Good evening. Just want to start kind of out with staffing reports. Just happy to say, report that we're at full staff in all the buildings right now. Cross our fingers and keep going with that. We also have a pretty good list of subs that we're working with this year, availability for coverages and stuff like that. Some of the things that I've been working on with the building heads is trying to get some cross-training done for building head coverage in case we have somebody sick, a building head or something like that where they're out, where we're able to pull some daytime staff out of Kennedy to be trained in the other buildings, so we could just pop them out to those buildings and post sub into Kennedy and do the coverage there. So we got somewhat of a seamless absence if if that happens. We're also working on a lot of cross training for there are going to be more events probably at Roosevelt here to try to get some subs over here to help after events and stuff like that, and then to keep a person more down in the event area. So we'll be doing some switching around of some staff and stuff like that, so on those evenings. So that kind of covers the staffing portion of it. Gyms, I'll be working on trying to get, because the FS calendar facilities scheduler fills up so fast for the gyms and stuff like that over the summers and stuff. There'll be people putting on stuff, so I'm going to be working with our vendor that does the gym floors to try to get prep days figured out and get those on the calendar and stuff. Probably the sooner the better on that. Some of the other things I've been working on, we just continue. I've been continuing to watch like our high supplies, the high demand supplies, paper towels, toilet paper, bag liners, all of that type of stuff, that we use a lot of, to make sure that we're getting the best pricing. And we have made some adjustments on probably, instead of doing like a 2 mil bag, we've, tried experimenting with some, 1.75 mil and dropped the costs and stuff. And we've had really good luck with that, with those bags as well. So there are going to be hopefully some savings there that we can see, over time and stuff. Same way with some cleaning chemicals, like the Ecolab chemicals and stuff like that. So, on November 5th, we had our building head meeting. We talked pretty extensively about the staffing in the buildings, how we were going to cover building heads, how we were going to cover their staff, like in the smaller buildings, like over at Cleveland, their evening staff, that type of thing, who we had available, who we could get trained in over there. So we're not always kind of behind the 8 ball on that. So it's been going pretty good that way. So talked a lot about snow and ice removal and stuff, just the importance of it, obviously, and trying to keep, the slip, trips, and falls down to a minimum and stuff. So we also talked at that time about supplies and different things, options and stuff. This winter we did contract, and I think you guys approved that at board meeting, obviously, outdoor renovations. So I'm working with them, trying to, with snow removal in different areas and stuff like that, to try to make sure that we're covering everything there. Cleveland roof replacement is in the process. Long and short, they're planning basically a week or two in advance, and if the snow's blowing and if it's too cold, they won't be working on it. If the weather's right, they will continue to work on it for as long as what they can till they get it done, or we end up at spring. So, but I have visited with them multiple times to make sure that they feel that they're doing the right thing, and to make sure that we're getting a good roof out of this, not just something that they're laying down and seaming up. So, so they're on top of that, and I think he said when I talked to him today, they're working on like 8 different roofs. So it isn't like we're the only one that is doing a roof project right now, that type of thing. So, then probably lastly here, just we'll be working with contractors for 26 projects, this summer and that type of thing. So, and that kind of covers it. So,
Doug,
any
I thought,
questions? Yeah.
I thought roofing's incompatible with our current weather. So is there something about their product or their process that makes it prudent to do roofing in the winter?
Well, I think it's a welded seam roof, so they have to watch the temperatures, and if it's not sealing and they're testing those seams and stuff like that, if it's not working, I'm sure they will just stop. There will be a point where there's a temperature threshold that they're just not going to do it. Like today, they were up, and the temps would have been fine, but with the wind blowing and stuff, and with any snow moving around and stuff, they just decided to wait. So,
Okay.
So.
All right. Other questions for Doug?
I have a question. Just for our information, if a staff member notices something that might not be in proper working order, what is the process for alerting you about that? Is there a form they fill out, or they just email you?
It just depends upon which building. If we're talking about Kennedy, or if we're talking about Roosevelt here, either one of those on the staff link side, there's down at the bottom, there's a custodial request form.
Okay.
I could actually have Jesse and them do it for McKinley or whichever building. But right now we just have it up for the 2 bigger buildings where there's more kids and stuff like that.
Oh, but Lincoln,
Lincoln, we could have the same thing there as well. It's just a matter of having Jesse get that set up. So there's some stuff to set it up but each of those, and what happens then is all they have to do is go in. So on that staff link at the bottom where it says custodial request form, you just go in there, they just fill in which building it's for. It's either Kennedy or whatever, what the, you know, the time frame that they need it done by. And then that, when they send that email out, if it's a, you know, then it goes directly to me and it goes to the building head, so then I can see that as well. So if it's something serious, I can step in and try to push that through if I need to, so.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks for the report, Doug.
Yeah, thank you.
All
Yep,
right.
have a good night.
You too. Ed Shea, our mechanical supervisor, is here with a report for the board. Good evening, Ed.
Hi. Look, we're at full staff too, and I love it. We've got people going every which direction every day. This is our time of year where I'm hot, I'm cold, more like I'm cold. So we address that stuff almost on a daily basis. And I told the first time I came here to the meeting, I said, I want the people in the district to say, we're happy to see you, not, oh God, they're coming again. So we take care of the staff. I try to make sure they're happy. So they'll reach out to me, and then I will assign the work. We'll get the work done, and then I will let them know when I've got that done so that they're happy. It completes the circle. Something that I have been working on, because it has been a problem in 4 out of 6 of our schools, is the dialing system on the fire alarm panels. The dialing system is old. It runs on landlines. Well, they've changed these landlines from fiber optic to cable to different things. So the fire alarm panels, they don't like the difference when it goes from one to the other. So sometimes we'll get a beeping on the panel, and I'll get a call in the middle of the night, your panel has not communicated to the company. Well, that just basically says it didn't talk when it was supposed to. Everything still works. But that's a nuisance call. The last time this happened was at McKinley, and the dialer is in the back room by like a media center where there's a gal that works. And it sat and went beep, beep, beep for 2 days before I could get it fixed. So then I called the company. I said, just replace the dialer. Well, they replaced the dialer from a landline dialer to a cellular dialer. That's what they're using now. Cellular dialers work better, and they're the best thing out there now. So they put that one in, and lo and behold, now we're with another company with that one school because I didn't catch it. So I went out and I got bids from 2 different companies to put the cellular dialers in all the schools, all the remainder 5, and then when they do that, and then the monitoring cost. So I used Summit, and then I used Nardini, which was bought by another company. But I did those 2, and they were apples to apples, and Summit was $300 a year cheaper than the other one. So we got the thing signed, and now we're going to start changing those over. So hopefully the calls in the middle of the night will get less and less, because I'm number 1. Okay, so that's it with the firing panels. Any questions on the alarm panels that you might have, or the phone dialers? Okay. The other thing is I've got some things that we're, little things we're going to be working on over the Christmas break. Over at Cleveland, we had a mold issue in the gym. I found out where it was coming from. The heat was migrating up the block walls into the ceiling. And that heat was coming up in there, giving it stuff of good atmosphere to grow. So we're getting them, they were all cleaned. Now we're going to get them sealed. We're going to do that Monday and Tuesday over Christmas break. So that project is going to be put to bed. So that's one of the things we're working on. I also have a boiler steamer machine in the kitchen that needs to be inspected. So we're going to tear that down and have the boiler inspector, our insurance boiler inspector, take care of that. I have found a heat pump in the boys' locker room over at the Maroon Gym, over at Kennedy. And we found a small leak. We've got a patch on that. We're going to shut it down over the break and then get that fixed properly. And then we also found, when we did an upgrade up at Kennedy, we modified one of our air handlers to save us some money. So there's, say, 30 rooms. I can't give you the exact number, but there's 30 rooms at Kennedy. When the system comes on, it comes on full blast and blows air at 100% all day long. Well, these rooms all have occupied sensors in them. And when there's nobody in the sensor, nobody in the room, it will take that figure into the scenario and slow that down to save money. That was a success. The unit is working less hard, so it should eventually save us some money. But in the process, we found a screw going through a piece of electrical conduit up in the middle, up in the high school, in the commons area. So we're going to get that addressed as well. So sometimes one project helps you find something else for another project. So we get to do a lot of little things like that. And we are doing an elevator replacement down in the Roosevelt Gym. I was hoping I would have something to give you by now, but we still don't have all the parts. But that's going to be coming up this winter. We're going to upgrade that to the current level so everything is safe. And then after that gets done, then we'll do the other elevator at Roosevelt and go from there. But we'll be able to do that one during the summer. So that's basically all I have. Do you have any questions from me?
No. No questions.
This is getting easier every time.
Great, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks, Ed. Okay, we'll move on to our various board reports, starting with Kirby Henderson.
Okay. The Finance Committee has not met since my last report, but the 5-4 Foundation, we did meet on November 13th. And we did, rather than meeting in this meeting room, we met at the Prairie Wetlands. And we had a short presentation by the teachers out there to the board. And then we got into our regular monthly meeting. Total assets right now are $2.56 million. Some other highlights, the fall and winter newsletter went out on November 14th. Tony Renz is one of our newer board members, a returning board member for another term, and he's going to be our vice president. We also reviewed, we've been the fiscal host at the 544 Foundation for many years for the community arena, for the hockey arena, and rather than have that as an open-ended thing, there's quite a bit of money in there and some projects that the city and the Hockey Association are looking at. So we're looking at extending that for 3 more years maximum, and I think the foundation would like to get out of that business of being fiscal host for the community arena. They've been doing that ever since the arena was built. So on the other hand, they also agreed to be a fiscal host for our 544 marketing promotions, and so that was approved. A couple other moves that were made. Every year the foundation has sponsored a Hall of Fame and Distinguished Alumni event, and now they're going to change that to every other year. And we will have an alumni night at Roosevelt Gym on January 16th, basketball game. And after the meeting, there was a quick tour for some of the foundation members who had never been at the Prairie Wetlands. So that was a good meeting, and our next meeting is this week, Thursday at noon, right here.
Okay. Questions for Kirby on the 544 Foundation? All right, thank you. Next board reports, Jenny Christensen.
The Activities Committee has not met since our last meeting, so I do not have a report today.
All right, thank you. Next, we have my board report on Region 1. There is has been no meeting for meet and confer. But Region 1, we talked about, they had sponsored a Synergy conference, which was well attended, and got some good feedback. It was our new director's first shot at coordinating this, and apparently it went very well. Tomorrow they have a Minnesota paid leave seminar that Region 1 is sponsoring for the payroll coordinators and supervisors. And so they're projecting about 200 people will show up for that and get updated about where that situation's at, et cetera, et cetera. The director gave us an update about prospective business, about other school districts interested in adding or coming on to Region 1 services. He's noted that Region 3 in the northern part of Minnesota that also supplies the same kind of services. Many of the school districts from that area are coming down here, so it's a little bit of diplomatic consultation about us servicing people that are located in a different district, but Region 1 has a strong reputation for their customer service, so that's the feedback he's getting on why other districts are coming in. And then there's just a few different charter schools. We provide student database services for a variety of smaller school districts, charter schools. And then little update on personnel. A change was made there. And then as we had before the meeting, the Region 1 board has 3 members that has terms expiring, and we talked about the election and set up the parameters for that. So that's it. We reviewed the the bills and the financial status, and that was a little bit longer report about Region 1. Usually I say nothing, regular business. Well, this is kind of a slice of what the regular business looks like. Any questions for me? All right, then we will move on to you, Kelly Graff, for your board reports.
All right, the staff development met, and they have a current budget of $34,744.15. We talked about the staff development again, for Friday, January 23rd, with all their breakout sessions. Again, it's AI, dyslexia, trauma review, changing the narrative for suicide awareness, vision and learning, conscious discipline, sign language, English learners, and they went over the Ricky White reflection, contacting speakers for descriptions and requests for funds. The Minnesota High School League has not met, and the Wellness Committee has not met since last time.
All right, thanks for the report. Any
Quick,
questions for Kelly?
sorry, the Minnesota State High School League did meet on December 4th, the Board of Directors. Did you not get those emails?
I didn't get any.
Are you not getting any of the emails?
No.
I would communicate with Derek Abrams then, to make sure that you're on that list and that you are getting the emails.
Okay, yep, because they did put it down that I was on there, but I have not received
Yeah, make sure
nothing.
you're communicating, yeah, because the Board of Directors has met. They met on December 4th.
Okay.
I-
We'll be here.
I have a question. I received the minutes for the Staff Development Committee, and I just wondered if I have the November minutes here and the December ones. I'm wondering are those an accurate representation of the meeting, what happened at the meeting? I'm asking that because for both of those meetings, you were marked as absent. You are not at that meeting.
Right, but I did talk to a fellow worker that was there, a teacher that was there, so yeah. So,
That's your committee, and we need you to be at the meeting to provide input. That there's a reason why school board members are on each of these different committees. And if you can't be at these meetings, and that's 2, I don't know if you've missed others, then you need to ask one of us if we can fill in for you.
Oh,
It's not just optional.
oh, well, it's not, I never said it was optional, nobody ever said it was optional. But no, I did have a prior engagement, so yeah, that's personal, and I don't feel like.
I didn't ask you why. I'm
Okay.
just saying that we're supposed to be at these meetings.
Right, but I did do my diligence, and I did figure out what happened there, so yes.
All right. Thank you for the board report, Kelly. Missy, your concerns are noted, and we can adjourn that to a work session if we need to discuss it further. Otherwise, we'll keep moving forward. Board reports from you, Missy Hermes.
There was not a curriculum review meeting in November, and the policy committee did not meet, but you'll see that there's 3 policies that we're voting on tonight, 2 of them that are brand new, policy 305 and 306. These are the 300 series. We did not have any policies there before. And then 411 is, so that's the second reading for both of those, and then the Minnesota paid leave policy that was, developed by and looked over by, not Christy, Amanda.
All right.
And then we'll meet in January next, right?
We will, yeah. We have more business to take care of.
All right. Any questions for Missy about the policies we're going to review tonight or the reports? All right. Stephen Biggessa.
Building and Grounds Committee is not met, so.
Okay, very good. We'll continue forward. We have next our general consent items, which include for approval, the minutes from November 24th board meeting and the bills and treasurers report. And so I will turn that over to you.
All right, I will begin with the treasurer's report. For the month of November, our beginning balance for the general fund started at 24 million, ended at 22 million. Food service started at 998,000, ended at about 1 million. Community service fund went from 92,000 to 194,000. Construction fund went from 417,000 to 383,000. The debt service fund started at 3,800, went down to, or excuse me, 3.8 million, went down to 2 million. That was due to a rather large bond payment that we had to make, about $2 million. Trust fund, 146,000 was our beginning balance, ending balance was 159,000. Activities fund, 553,000, ending balance, 315,000. So for a total, our beginning balance was at 30,000 and we are down, or excuse me, 30 million, and we're down to about 26 million. So total receipts for the month of November was 2.4 million. Our total invoices paid out was 5.6 million. Again, remember that also includes the around $2 million in our bond payment. And then payroll that was paid out for the month of November was 1.4 million. Moving on to the bills for November 25th through November 31st. Bills for the general fund totaled 1.5 million. Food service fund was about 42,000. Community service fund was just shy of 1,500. Debt service fund, we had 2.1 million, again, with that $2 million bond payment. Trust fund, $416, and student activities fund, $942 for a total of around $3.6 million. Of note, we did have a $49,000 bill for IQ, $44,000 for prairie wetland fees, $163,000 for otter tail coaches, and $987,000 in payroll. And those are my reports.
All right, thank you. We have 3 personnel items. We've offered a overload contract to Jamie Lill, a .0303 overload contract for teaching DAPE. Support staff hire Mara Pausch, behavioral specialist at the elementary schools, starting January 5th. And then a support staff separation, Chastity Purrier, special ed professional at Lincoln, effective November 24th. Those are our items for the general consent. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion on the, okay, Kelly, please.
Okay.
Any discussion on the general consent items? Hearing none, all in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, that is approved. Under unfinished business, we have the second reading for the 3 school board policies that Missy Hermes referenced in her board report. I would seek a motion to approve those policies. Is someone willing to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Take Steve.
Steve, okay. And any discussion on the policies? Hearing none, all in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, we have new business. We have a proposal from Lakeland Mental Health Center to approve several agreements with the Independent School District beginning on January 1st through December 31st of 2026. And listed on our agenda are the 6 different provider titles. Is there a motion to approve these positions and the agreements that it entails?
I'll motion.
All right. Motion from Jenny. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion or any questions on this? Hearing no questions, all in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, that's approved. The next new business item is an agreement with Lakes Country Service Cooperative in the amount of $35,463 for direct mental health supports to students, and this would be beginning on July 1st, this year, 2025, through June 30th of next year. Is there a motion to approve that agreement?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second that.
All right, and a quick question for the superintendent. Have we been getting this service thus far?
We have.
Okay,
It's 1 day a week. I believe it's Wednesdays, and she is operating out of Kennedy Secondary School.
all right, thank you. Any other questions or discussion on this motion? All right. All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, that is approved. We are going to have some downtime here in our meeting because at 6 p.m. we have a public meeting for taxes payable. It is not prudent to do that at 5:50 p.m. In the event that somebody from the public's coming at 6. So with that, perhaps we could adjourn,
Recess?
recess?
Is that a thing for school board?
You can just do a recess.
Yeah, entertain a motion for a recess till
So
6.
moved.
All right, and a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion on that?
9 minutes?
It's 9 minutes of hang time. All right. Any other discussion? All in favor of a recess till 6 p.m., say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, we will recess for that. Following the recess, we have one more agenda item, and that is to approve or disapprove the levy that we're going to hear about at 6. And then the meeting will adjourn, and we will have a work session, so.
Oh, yeah. Reopen.
It's now 6 p.m. I'll call for a motion to reopen the board meeting.
Second.
I'll make the motion.
Oh, you're second, and I'll second.
Okay.
All right.
I thought she motioned, sorry.
Oh,
No,
sorry.
she's looking for motion.
All right, any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor of reopening the meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That is approved, and now we will have our business manager, Renee McLeodette, give us our Fergus Falls Public Schools Taxes Payable 2026 report, formerly called Truth in Taxation. Thank you.
Thank you. Tonight's meeting, yes, as you mentioned, is a truth and taxation hearing. This is an annual meeting that we do as required by Minnesota statute. It simply allows the public a chance to provide input before we adopt the final levy. So on tonight's agenda, we will plan to discuss the budget, levy, as well as factors affecting the levy. What I should also note here too is that we're talking about the levy that's payable in calendar year 2026, so from January 1 to December 31 this upcoming year. This is actually our revenue for fiscal year 27, which starts for us July 1 of next summer. This is a table here showing our fiscal year 25 actual as well as fiscal year 26 budget. And so I'm just planning to review this from a high level because a lot of this has been reviewed previously this year. So on the left-hand side on the gold section is our fiscal year 25 audit results as presented by our auditors about a month ago. We started our fiscal year 25 with a fund balance of about 21.4 million. We had revenues and transfers in of about 54.6 million, expenditures and transfers out of about 52.9 million for an ending fund balance on June 30th of 23.2 million. And then on the right-hand side is the budget that we adopted last June. And so revenues and transfers in are expected to be about 52 million, and then expenditures and transfers out are expected to be about 52.8 million with a projected fund balance of about 22.3 million. And I would also just mention here that all of this information and actually all the details for the 2026 budget as well as the 2025 audit, all of it's on our website. So you can certainly look there for more details. So the next couple of slides are going to focus on the revenues and expenditures for the general fund. So first we have the revenues. Projected to be about $45,200,000 for our fiscal year 26 budget, which is what we're in right now. And of this 45 million, about 82%, so the section in blue is from state sources. Next, the local levies represent about 10%. Other local and county revenue is about 5%, and then federal sources, are about 3%. So this is for the general fund. This next pie chart looks at expenditures for the general fund. So overall expenditures are projected to be about 46 million this year. And since we are an educational organization, most of our expenditures, of course, are salaries, wages, and benefits. And so those, that would be the orange and the gray section. So a total of about 71% in that category, or those categories. Next we have purchase services, which is about 22%. So purchase services includes our transportation, also our IQ Academy online services. It's also contractors that we hire for miscellaneous work. So it might be electrical, miscellaneous building projects. It's also our property insurance. So that makes up the purchase services. Supplies and materials represent about 5% of our overall budget. This includes custodial, HVAC, curriculum, miscellaneous classroom supplies, and also software. Capital expenditures represent about 1% of our budget, and so this includes mostly our payments for the Target building that we purchased a few years back. Also, tech and other equipment would fall into that category. And then we do have less than 1% of just some miscellaneous expenditures. Next, we'll look a little bit at the levy. So who sets the school district levy, or how is it determined? Well, a lot of the components of the district tax levy are determined by state formulas that are really set by the Minnesota legislature. So our tax levy is actually made up of many smaller levies. So we have levies for operating capital, career and technical equipment, reemployment, community ed, long-term facilities maintenance, and so forth. And so all of these formulas are set by the legislature, and they are in statute. The other portion that makes up our levy can be voter-approved levies. So this might be operating referendums or building bonds. And so we combine all of those together, or the state does actually, MDE, and this comes out in the form of our levy limitation and certification report that we have available to us every September. And so that's when we approve our preliminary levy. So it's based on all those different formulas in there. So school districts, the school boards really have minimal control over the tax levy as compared to cities and counties. Their levies are set in a different manner. Here's a rate table showing 2025 payable taxes versus 2026 payable. So you can see for the 25 payable, our levy was about 8.3 million versus the levy that we are proposing or planning to approve tonight, hopefully, which was also the same amount that we approved the preliminary levy in September. That amount is $7,948,825.97. This actually represents a 4.2% decrease overall in our tax levy for next year. This is just a table showing a representative example of what your property taxes might do if you have property in the school district. So if you have a residential homestead, for example, at a value of $250,000, your taxes for payable 25 would have been about $721. And if all other factors remain the same, so let's say if your property value didn't change and nothing else changed at all, then you would see a decrease of about $54 for the upcoming year. And so this really just splits it out by the different property tax classes. So there's commercial, industrial, ag, seasonal and so forth. Here's a tax rate history chart. So the blue column represents our net levy. So this is the proposed levy of about 7.9 million. As we mentioned before, or in one of the previous slides, the current levy was about 8.3 million. The orange columns on here depict the adjusted net tax capacity. So what this is the property tax value times the classification rate. So the different types of property that we just looked at, so the industrial, residential, commercial, those all have a classification rate attached to them. And so this, the orange bars here represent the net tax capacity based on the property value and the tax classification rates. The green line on here is really just the amount in blue divided by the amount in orange. And so our tax rate is about 14.37% for next year. Next, we'll look a little bit at some of the factors that affect the levy. So first of all, if there's a change in the overall district property valuation, this can change our levy. Because the levies, or any revenue that I shouldn't say any, but some of the revenue that we receive has an equalization factor. And so the wealthier our property is in our district, the more we will pay in levy and the less we will receive in state aid. And then, I just showed a few examples here from the past 3 years on what our property value increases have been. And so it is starting to slow down a little bit. Next, if your individual property value changes in comparison to your neighbors, so let's say my value is 250,000 and the neighbor across the street is also 250, but then let's say next year my value goes up to 300,000. Well, that just increases, and so if my value goes up in comparison to the average, and then that means that my portion of the tax pie really just becomes a little bit larger. So it really just depends on also your individual property valuation. As we mentioned before, there's lots of different formulas in the levy, so if there's any legislative changes in those formulas, that will also affect the levy. Changes in enrollment will also impact it. And then prior year adjustments. These can be adjustments for actuals versus estimates for things like average daily membership, otherwise also kind of known as enrollment. The lease levy expenditures, all these different things. So no matter what, every year when we run that levy report in September, we will always have adjustments, and sometimes they're positive, sometimes they're negative, and they're a combination of both. And I think it looks back like maybe 3 years on the actuals versus estimates, and so we'll always have some sort of adjustments in there from the prior years. And then also we do have some local decisions that can affect it. Here's a tax comparison chart prepared by Ellers, our financial advisors. This shows the taxes for an average $250,000 home for Fergus Falls versus some of the nearby surrounding districts. So in Fergus, for taxes payable in 25, a $250,000 home would have paid about 721 taxes versus, let's say, someone in Ashby paying a little over 1,000, and then someone in Campbell, Tinta, or Underwood paying just under $700. Next steps will be to adopt the final levy, which is still on your agenda yet, and then I can certify it to the county auditor, submit it to the Minnesota Department of Revenue, and then also submit it to MDE. So with that, I can entertain any comments from the public.
All right. Tonight we have one member of the public. Any chance you wanted to comment, questions on that? All right. Sorry to put you on the spot, but thought we'd just flush that out. Any other comments or questions from the board in regard to that?
Yeah. See which one. Okay.
So you said that our levies were down 4.9.
Right. 4.2.
Okay, so so you see all these are all
Right.
7, 8, 10%. And the reason that these are like this is because you're saying if your 250 stays the same, but the county has increased the valuation by an average of 5, 6, 7% on each class. And so because
Unless the value of everyone's goes up at the same time, so it's your valuation compared to everyone else's, the average, yeah.
But the 250 is 250 in each year. So your average, if it goes up 5%, then it's going to go up 12 bucks. So now your valuation is 6.
But if everyone's goes up at the same rate, then your portion of the pie is still the same. Yeah, yep.
But that's the reason that you're seeing higher numbers here, 7% better.
Oh, the other part too, though, is look at the top of this chart. It's based on the different parts of the levy. So there's some based on R&B or residential market value. And then there's also the net tax capacity, which is the second line down. So you can see the R&B based ones are actually a positive. So it depends on which, right, and that's where that 4.2% comes in, because that's the overall average. Yeah, good question, though. Yep.
All right. Any other comments or questions in regard to the levy for taxes payable? Thank you for the report, Renee. We'll move on to our final action item for this evening. I'm looking for a motion to endorse the levy for taxes payable in the amount of $7,948,825.97.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any other discussion on the motion? All right, hearing none, all in favor of approving the levy for taxes payable in the amount cited, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, that is approved. And I would just note, we have our reorganizational meeting coming up on January 12th. We will have one public meeting in the interim. It will be on Monday morning, December 22nd at 7:30 a.m. That's going to be a limited agenda due to the fact school's out. And then we'll have our full-bodied meeting in January on the 12th. The reorganizational meeting will be followed by the public meeting. We have a work session tonight with several items on it, and so the board will be sticking around for that. So lastly, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.